All right, good morning. We're back. Started off a little late, but we got rolling with the Doc. Doc is off to the races. He's back saving lives. We're here this morning with, well, we thought we were going to get Richie in here, and I don't know if he overslept or what, but we got the core. We got the all-star panel together. I'm substituting RFG for BKP. We got Jane with us. We got Bruce, and we're gonna figure it out this morning.
Well, if you can figure it out, you're a better man than I.
You just keep talking.
Yeah, that's right. Here comes Richie now.
Richie from Boston, what in the world are you doing in here late?
Get that shirt tucked on. Let's go.
We're live. Let's go. Come and sit next to me, Richie.
But it's the shades. That's the only thing that saves you, the shades, Richie. The shades.
Come on in. Good to see you.
Hey.
All right, now we're all together. We got Richie, we got Rick, we got Jane, we got Bruce. We're the all-star panel. I'm going to start it off with something that happened this week. You know, Trump in his brilliantness once again exposed the Dems for really who they are. And he gets labeled a racist because he went to the core of some of the problems that we've got in this country and singled out Baltimore, called it infested, and been called out for it. What happened 20 years ago when Elijah Cummings said the same thing? He was not called a racist. It's my firm belief, and you know what? I found a quote. Now keep in mind, this was 1911 that this quote was written, not to be confused with a Colt 45. It was 1911. Keeping in mind also that in 1909, the NAACP came into being.
1909?
1909.
All right.
This quote, "There is another class of colored people who make a business of keeping the troubles, the wrongs, and the hardships of the Negro race before the public. Having learned that they are able to make a living out of their troubles, they've grown into the settled habit of advertising their wrongs, partly because they want sympathy and partly because it pays." Keyword pays. Some of these people do not want the Negro to lose his grievances because they do not want to lose their jobs. That was Booker T. Washington, a man who was with us from 1856 to 1915, very, very bright man, black man, who brought it to light how many years ago?
Brilliant.
Almost 100, more than 100 years ago, right?
And they listened, didn't they?
They listened. And who does that remind you of, folks? There's two race baiters out there that are still after it every day, making money on the heels of the blight, and that's Reverend Al Sharpton, and that's the Reverend Jesse Jackson, and I use Reverend very, very loosely, okay?
I think you should reverend very reverently.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm for the irreverently reverend.
Hey!
So now, you know, Elijah's gone kind of underground, hasn't he?
Really? How far?
Yeah, well,
Way. Ooh.
yeah. Jane, what do you think about what I just said?
You know, it just makes your heart ache is what it does. And what I can understand is why everyone can't see it. Why isn't it obvious to everyone? I mean, how can it not be obvious? It's just blatant. And then we had him, I'm going to save Baltimore, and then of course he takes his, how much did Trump say they've sent there? 130 million or something to Baltimore. And Trump is now saying, follow the money, and it is, and I think they're going to follow the money. Someone's going to be honest there.
Well, there's two different classes of Baltimore. There's basically the upper class, and then there's the area that's described as the infestation. And you know, you can replicate that, Bruce, to different cities in the world, different cities, in the country that have been ruled over the years by single party.
Demon rats.
That's right.
Yeah, I mean, this all gets back to blacks in America. They never get charged with any, racial terms. They're never racists. And I mean, you have Al, and you have Jesse, you have the Reverend Farrakhan. who regularly wails on the Jews. He's not a racist.
Right.
Yeah, they just won't use the racist word with blacks. I mean, it's
They have permission to be racist. So when they do it, it's not racism because they have permission to be racist.
because they've been treated so
Yeah,
badly all the
right.
years, and so they get a pass on
They
that.
do.
Yeah.
That's what they think.
But-
But what you said is the crust of the matter. Chris.
But any criticism of a black leader, a black organizer, a black reverend, I mean, it's always racist. I mean, it doesn't have anything to do with the merits.
Right.
It's like,
It dilutes the meaning of actual racism.
Yeah, it does.
Because surely, I mean, it does still exist, obviously, in some cases, but the fact that, well, let me backtrack here. I think the president knew that footage existed of Elijah Cummings. I think he chose his words carefully.
Absolutely.
And he's very good at, we've talked about this before, at creating that juxtaposition to where he can make things, a contrast of I hate to use the term black and white, but no pun intended there, but it's, he's very good at doing that. And when you look at Cummings especially, I mean, he's got a net worth of like,
$1.8 million.
it's $2 million on a congressional salary, and I know there was some stuff about his wife
Fraud.
several months ago.
yeah,
And-
she's stroking the system.
And then every mayor, I think the last 4 mayors of Baltimore have ended up with some sort of scandal or criminal charges, and it's something you see all over the country. I mean, look at Atlanta with the mayors going back to Bill Campbell and everybody had a scandal there. And Trump is now going after the inner cities and creating that juxtaposition. And they realize, his team realizes that for all the talk of assuming the African American vote, if he can just get to 25-30%,
Right.
not even that high,
Right.
he wins going away.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if it was Rush who gave this stat back during the midterms, but there's only one voting group that considers racism their number one issue, and it's actually single white women. And a lot of this racism talk is targeted really at turning them out to vote rather than the actual minority voters themselves. I think it's all a big game going on here, and I think Trump's.
You know what I heard?
And it
Go ahead.
even went back to the previous issue the week before of the
Absolutely.
racist president calling out the women of color,
Yeah.
the squad.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
okay, they happen to be Puerto Rican and Somalian and a few other things, black. I think the one lady had nothing to do with their color. It had to do with their ineptness. They were just
Right.
inept.
Right. But they can
But
turn
you
it-
can't, people of color, you can't say they're inept.
And they take everything out of context because I think the key phrase in his tweet that was go back to your country and then
Yeah.
come back and show us how it's done. But they took the
Take it right out of
Yeah,
context.
they took the come
Right,
back
yeah.
part. right?
Go
Right.
back, they said it was a trope for African Americans and other ethnic groups, 100 years ago. So, I mean, really, we're not living 100 years ago. Get real.
That's the whole point. Listen, I heard something this morning that I really liked, talking on the brilliancy of Trump. And it said what he is doing, with the new abortion, Planned Parenthood, one state has voted you have to separate the abortion clinic from, and they're just going to give up their money because they don't want to do that. But what this guy said, and also with what Trump's doing about Baltimore, is he is bringing this out to light and making them live by their rules, and they don't want to live by their rules.
Exactly.
They're not supposed to mingle tax money, Planned Parenthood, with giving breast exams and having abortions, but they're commingling it just like that. So now, which state was it? Does anyone remember which voted, passed a law that you cannot do both in the same building? They have to move it. So instead of getting their 2 or 3 million or 20 million, they just said, we're not going to take any more government money.
Yeah. Well, I've always got a theory.
Yeah, good.
I got a theory that the Democrat Party has purposely made the Hispanic and illegal population the new blacks. They have moved their emphasis, free health care to illegals, all of the bring them in, make them feel at home, let them vote.
It's a new underclass.
They're the new underclass, and I think Trump has singled that out, and that's why he's going after the black leadership and saying you need to do something about what's going on in your district.
And I think you bring up a good point, because something that always irked me about Obama, he would always say, you know, he would talk about the American dream, and instead of saying, like, you can grow up to be wealthy, like Trump says, he would say, you know, you can achieve the middle class. He would always say that. He would say, like,
But you can't go any higher.
Right. In America, you can get that. I mean,
Yeah, work
there's
hard. You'll
everywhere.
make
I'm
a
sure
C
they
in
can find-
college. Work hard. Work hard.
But what it implied is, you know, bring the existing underclass to the middle class, import a new underclass, and then the rich create separation.
Exactly. Right on point.
These cities don't have middle classes. Baltimore doesn't
No.
have
No.
middle, and that's what they're spouting.
Atlanta.
In their communism and socialism. Everyone, and they have to look at it. Now it's out in the light, and during the campaign, Donald can say, what do you mean communism? What do you mean Medicare for all? What do you mean housing for all? Look what you did.
When Bruce and I
Pretty-
did the segment when we were doing the show on Los Angeles becoming a third world country, that was one of the things that we said. The middle class is virtually shrinking to be non-existent out there.
Yeah.
You've got
That's
two
right.
classes. You've got the upper class, and you've got the
Rich and the
lower
poor,
echelon.
really.
Well,
Yeah.
you're starting to set the tone with, you know, the people that have worked and achieved and have money and houses and things like that, versus those who don't. I mean, you're starting to set the two against each other.
Right.
And that's why I think, you know, a lot of this, you know, move to the left with the Democratic Party, they see it as an opening now to get these issues in front of people. And, oh, okay, we're going to talk about the Green New Deal. Okay, well, it's all about the environment, saving the environment. No. It's about changing the economic environment.
That's
so that's
exactly
all part
right.
of it. And all these other, like, you know, social issues, Medicare for all, free college, free housing, let's
A
say.
government job if you want it. That's what Bernie said. Everyone can have a government job
doing
if you
what?
want. Yeah, right.
Yeah, working on his campaign for $15 an hour.
They hire people to hire
A
more
lot less
people.
than that.
To hire more people.
And I think they play a long game too. I mean, without a doubt, that the messaging today is creating their voters of tomorrow. And when you look at bringing in illegals, sure, they may not vote. Well, in some states they might, but they may not vote, but their children will, because they're going to be born here.
Yeah, and Hispanics, or, you know, the Spanish-speaking peoples are becoming more and more of a majority block, surpassing blacks in
Right.
certain states. You know, they are a greater percentage of the population now.
Which is a whole other interesting, fascinating discussion of how they vote anyway. Because, you know, when you look when Trump won Florida in 2016, the Democrats didn't get nearly as many Hispanic votes as they thought they would. Same thing in 2018.
Yeah, Hispanics are harder for the Dems to flip, because they're a little bit more, you know, church-oriented,
Yeah,
God-oriented.
right. They're religious.
Family
That's what I was
oriented.
thinking.
Yeah.
Family
Yeah.
oriented.
Pro-life, big time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
As opposed to single-family inner-city blacks.
You saw something last night. If you watched Fox at all, you saw a brilliant campaign strategy, in my opinion, with Trump going out and doing a rally at the end of the same week where the Dems put their 20 inept candidates on display. He was able to pick that apart and take advantage of every little nuance that transpired earlier in the week. Your thoughts, Jane?
Are you saying Bill de Blasio's inept?
Oh my goodness!
The nerve! Oh my God!
I mean, did y'all watch them? Did y'all watch the debates at all?
Yeah.
Watch any clips?
Not the first one. I got the second one pretty
Yeah,
much.
yeah. What
yeah,
what were
I
your
didn't- I
takeaways?
didn't watch 'em.
Yeah. Other people have said it. Circular firing squad. You know, like
Who was in the middle?
well, Joe.
Yeah, Obama was
Yeah,
too.
but I mean, you know, he's ducking each other. They're shooting each other. I mean, it was just crazy. I mean, it's so discouraging to watch at this point, because they have nothing else to talk about but the same major talking points, and they're all trying to, like, you know, one up. And it sounded like a high school election, running for school president or something like that.
And you had the three moderators who were the teachers trying to keep everybody under control.
But leading it
Don
very
Lemon wanted to
badly.
be the cool teacher.
Don Lemon's son. Our racist president, Donald J. Trump, said this the other day. He said that, our
Oh, I
racist
know.
president. I
He is.
guys like that should be just, banned from the air.
Well, they shouldn't be in that position as a moderator.
Right, absolutely.
They surely are not.
CNN
Nonpartisan.
paying the tab. I mean,
I just assume let them keep exposing themselves.
That's a good point too. Yeah.
But
You
I
know-
mean, they're singing to the choir, though. I mean,
Oh, without a
all
doubt.
believers are watching that show. There's a couple of us.
Supposed to be a surprise, though.
Happy birthday
Ah,
to
geez.
you.
There we go.
Happy birthday
Ah,
to
geez.
They're
you.
doing it now.
Happy
Birthday, dear Rick. Happy birthday to you. And many more.
Holy cow.
Come on around. Come on around.
Happy birthday.
Okay, we're gonna let him blow. Make a wish. Come on, guys, get in the thing.
Get in the view.
4 years old.
Get in the camera.
Yes.
Okay,
All right.
make a wish.
Okay, ready?
Yeah.
This involves you, Cindy.
Ah,
Okay. Well, I guess by now you can tell folks that it is my birthday.
I want my money back. It's supposed to come back on.
And it was Jane's birthday 2 days ago.
Yes?
Rick's birthday tomorrow.
That's true.
Bruce's birthday tomorrow.
Happy
Yeah.
birthday to you.
thank
Happy
you,
birthday
thank
to
you.
you also.
Brian has said it many times on the show. We ironically,
You
there
try
you go. You making your birthday wish now? We were literally born
Cheap
all
Chinese.
within,
Cheap
all
Chinese
within
Yeah, made in China.
4 days of each other. We were born in the same year. We all, as of tomorrow, we will all be the same age.
Yep. Thank goodness y'all caught up with me. Cracky,
We
I was.
won't be the same.
Age before beauty.
Here we are discussing the debate and what Trump is a genius, and in come the hotties. I'm
I
telling
know.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you both, Cindy's.
Yeah.
Thank y'all for coming. Mwah.
Thank you both, Cindy's.
You're welcome.
We appreciate it.
Yeah, that are the Cindy's. Thanks, that guy. I know Cindy didn't want to get up, but I coerced her. Yeah, right.
All right, moving right along.
Where were
You
we?
weren't expecting that, were you?
Yeah, you never know.
You never know what happens on
Never
Fetcher
know.
News. You never know what's going to walk through the door here at Circuit World, and we're glad to be here this morning with the All-Star panel, substituting for Brian while he's away. We've got Bruce with us, we've got Jane, we've got myself, Rick, and we've got Richie, who we're delighted to have and sit in while BKP is gone.
We're back.
We got Bruce's
Be careful.
lighting. Bruce is being a pyromaniac.
Now,
over
Tommy,
on the
don't play
side.
with fire.
Let's get back to the debate.
Baltimore ladder.
Yeah, let's get Baltimore later. Let's get back to. Geez, I'm like Buttigieg. I got a fly on my
Oh
head that
yeah,
he couldn't
and
get
Hillary
off.
had them, and Obama
I
had
know.
them.
Geez, Louise. Now let's go back to the debate.
All right.
Did you watch it? Tell me the truth.
Off and on.
You saw clips. It's.
Yeah,
Let me tell you.
I got bored and turned it.
It's
and-
tough to watch. It's
Yeah.
tough to
Same old-
watch. We're talking
same old
about the kind of the kid atmosphere with everybody trying to get a soundbite. The takeaway I had was they had not one positive message to put out there.
Yeah, and it's the same talking points that the previous night went on. They're talking about three same things: immigration, open borders, medical care. Is a birthright, and what else?
Climate change.
Climate
Race to the
change.
left.
Yeah,
But,
yeah.
you know, one-
and a few other little things they put up.
Well,
the
they
first
did.
one.
Ainsley, I mean,
I
You know,
tell you
the-
what, they really blistered the Obama administration,
they did.
Yeah, yeah.
and all of the mainstream media is going, "What are you doing?"
It's because
Getting
they
rid of
wanted to get at
Biden.
Joe.
Yeah, they want to get at Joe.
Yeah.
So they had to go after the Obama
I
administration.
tell you, perhaps the most interesting thing, and sometimes I like watching this part more, is the post debate. And CNN had David Axelrod, who was the Karl Rove of Obama's
Exactly.
campaigns.
Without his mustache.
And right, and Castro was on there,
Julian,
who was of course a member of the Obama administration.
Secretary of HUD, HUD.
Right, and he went after the Obama administration hard on immigration, And I remember Joe said, "Well, you were there, and I don't
remember you saying anything.
Right, and then Axelrod ended up hitting him pretty hard afterward.
Hitting whom?
Castro,
Okay.
with his questioning, talking to him as if like, son, we're responsible for the reason why you're even here.
Yeah.
And I'd love to be a fly on the wall in some of the inner workings of it. Just knowing how the game works.
Starting to get like cat claws.
And who's
Well,
gonna
yeah,
go
but you
after
could
who.
see some of like the California progressives that come on and versus like the East Coast
Sure.
establishment. I mean, that's a cat fight in and of itself.
And the way CNN set it up, they had a draw like it was the World Cup,
Oh,
but
It was
just
rigged.
so inane.
had to be.
It was rigged. They had
Look
to
at the
draw
first-
my bunny winnie.
If you look at the first slate compared to the second one and how it all just happened to fall together, where
Well,
all
and they
white
gave
people
in
were
the back and
9-1.
forth. Okay, Kamala, you say this. Joe, I'd like you to respond. Oh, Kamala, respond to what Joe said. It was like back and forth. I'm going, who are the other people up there?
Yeah, exactly.
Joe got like the most airtime of any
Republicans
candidate.
did.
18 minutes, I think he
Oh, really?
got something like that. You know who had their glass jaw exposed? Kamala Harris.
big time.
How's that?
Yeah.
She got
Tulsi Gabbard.
whacked
Good.
by Tulsi.
I like her.
Tulsi Gabbard, in my opinion,
Yeah.
Tulsi Gabbard, and I talked about this with Brian on the phone the other day. She was the only candidate up there who didn't scream, who didn't holler. It was like Josh when he's got a technical problem. He just stays calm. He states his message. He states the issues. She stated the issues.
But Tulsi's not judge.
And it's my opinion that Tulsi is not running for president. She's running for vice president.
Oh,
And she could be Biden's running mate, in my opinion. You saw how she directed the conversation to defend Joe. And she went after Kamala Harris
Big time.
because she was picking on Joe Biden. She went after Booker because he was picking on Biden.
And it got her noticed.
for that very reason, you're picking on Biden. I mean, what was
I
she
think
going
she's-
around the bush or just
I think she
calling
was,
him out for it?
I think she was
I mean-
definitely in defense of
Biden.
of Joe Biden.
That's
And
a
I don't
sickening
think she's
thought.
running for president. I think she's running for a vice
Interesting.
president.
But I think she was
Interesting.
dead wrong for going after Trump on ISIS. Basically
Oh,
called
yeah.
him a traitor. I
Yeah.
think she blew her foot off
Said that
on
he
that.
supports
Well, that's
Al-Qaeda
yeah,
and-
yeah.
That was unacceptable.
She said he's indirectly and directly supporting Al Qaeda.
Yeah, yeah,
That is
yeah.
unfathomable.
highlight-
I mean, it just
Unfathomable.
Sorry.
no,
Go
no.
ahead.
Go.
Well, the highlight to me was when she said to Harris that,
You laughed.
you locked up all these people,
Right.
for
1,500 people for
Right.
marijuana violations.
and then you laugh about it.
And then you laughed about it when you were
the
asked if
Breakfast
you
Club.
ever smoked marijuana. That was that
Think
was
about that.
That was the Breakfast Club that she was on,
Yeah,
right?
think how many
Well,
people are in prison. And
She wanted to gloss over the fact she did inhale.
And no telling what else, right?
people's lives though that she's.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, you
for
heard
sure.
that one
They don't
commentator,
care.
Tommy Lahren, Fox Nation. She had to like walk back, something she put to her about. Have you slept your way, up to this position you're in? Which of course she has, but they're making her walk it back now. So
Oh. Well, I think something's going to backfire greatly, and I think Trump knows it, and it's the fact that they are open borders, let them all come in, they're better Americans than we are, but now the Republicans are kind of floating the thing saying she cares more about the immigrants than their own constituents and and that's going to ring a bell. I hope they keep hitting at that point because it's true. It's true. And now they have the pictures of Baltimore out there, and they're going to continue to do this in the cities. They're going to continue. If they don't, they're crazy.
The
Really. That's a lot.
yeah, I know the fly is brutal.
We're gonna get it during the break.
Yeah, exactly.
Be the first time.
The emphasis on climate change. Isn't climate change like fourth or fifth down the list of people's
Maybe further,
priorities?
way down.
And isn't Google having something this week where they're sponsoring some climate change symposium? You hear about
They all
this?
took private jets to get there.
There's 100 and some private jets that created a carbon. I mean, if they live by their own standards, it's like the ultra rich telling the rest of us how we need to live, but they don't have to be subjected to any of the standards that they're trying to set up. Bruce, what do you got?
Yeah, just some of my notes from the second one. I mean, that came up, Kamala said we have to adopt the Green New Deal. Again, and that's a deceptive ploy. Kirsten Gillibrand, greatest risk to mankind is climate change. And then they jumped on Flint, Michigan with the lead and all that. And that was all done with a Democratic mayor, a Democratic city council, and I think it was a Republican governor at the time, who they're trying to say that now didn't give them the funds and the money that they needed to correct the problem.
Yeah, didn't
so much BS.
Biden decide how many days he spent in Flint trying to bring the civility, the toxicity levels back to where they could drink the water?
Yeah, he personally drank 3 or 4 gallons. And just tried to-
Yeah, we hear about Flint every election cycle, but the funny thing to me is Hillary Clinton raised almost $1 billion. These people right now are going to have probably almost $1 billion combined. They could have fixed Flint, Michigan 6-8 times with their own campaign funds and still had enough money to advertise.
You know, you talk about Flint, Michigan and the toxicity levels from the lead, but then you listen to Dr. Ben Carson, who comes to Baltimore, who's from Baltimore, who practiced at Johns Hopkins, and he comes out and states the obvious that no one is admitting, that he saw personally in his practice all of these children that he would treat, and he would just hate in his mind to send them back to the areas where they live, which is full of lead, paint, and it was causing brain damage. And he saw that on a daily basis. But that's been going on for how many years? It's been going on in Baltimore since Nancy Pelosi's father was in charge.
Yeah,
That's
when
a
he
few
was-
years back.
when he was putting statues of Roger Taney up.
Exactly.
That they've since torn down.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's all a charade. It always is, and it's something that we only hear about every election cycle. And as far as the climate change stuff, I think it was Jay Inslee who said we're going to go after the fossil fuel companies, and
They all did.
a lot of them, yeah, reverberate
But you're right.
that.
He's from Washington State,
And
correct?
yes, and it's obvious to me. It always has been that it sure is funny that with the climate change issue that public enemy number one is one of the major financiers of the opposite party. So you got to wonder if there's a political angle there. Of course there is.
Yeah.
And I think why you're seeing so many people take the climate change angle is you're going after primary voters in a crowded field, and if you can rip off 15% in certain states, then you're going to have a fighting chance with your delegates to do something meaningful at the convention, because I'm not so sure that anyone's going to have a majority of delegates when they go to.
I agree with
they
you.
go to,
There's going to be a
Milwaukee.
food fight there.
Yeah, one of the other big things in the second one, because I didn't see the first debate, was immigration. I mean, some of the statements that came out are just mind-boggling. Kirsten Gillibrand, you're talking about immigrants, asylum seekers, not criminals. Okay, open borders, where we incarcerate people and separate from the families, demands we have a new DREAM Act, and all these candidates talked about all the issues with immigration. And some of them, not all of them, have been involved with the legislative process for decades.
Yes.
And nothing is ever done about
Right,
it.
right.
And all of them said, I will fix this. I will get in, as president, I will fix this.
Well, Trump said,
And
Trump
it's
said I
rubbish.
will fix this,
And he's
the
fixing
only
it.
one that's trying.
And it's rubbish. They're not going to fix it. It's going to get all boggled down in the House and the
they
Senate.
have no plan to fix it.
Well, I hope I hope the DNC sets the standard such that when we have the next round of debates, I think is going to be September.
Yeah.
I
September.
can't wait.
I hope there's enough
Who's left?
boundaries put up that it creates attrition so that we only have to have one night and maybe 10 candidates max. Your thoughts?
Who knows? I mean, I know they have all these rules that it seems they're making up as they go. So I don't know how they're even gonna do that. I think I don't know. I don't want to
Speculate?
I don't want to speculate, but it sure does seem there's a little bit of rigging going on.
No question about it. Just like how they separated the candidates for the two debates. You said it before. I
They
think
have
that
an
was,
agenda.
I think that was rigged.
Oh, no doubt about it. And listen, I wonder how long in advance from when they announced that the Democratic Party wouldn't allow a debate on Fox, did they have that decided? A long time before they said, oh, and by the way, we don't think they'll be fair. Fair, look at Lemon and his questions.
But looking forward, I mean, to September debates, only 7 are qualified as of right now. Only 7.
Oh,
what's,
really?
What's the
Yeah.
percentage in the polls do they have to have? Isn't there a
They
certain
have to have
percent?
2% of 4 major polls,
Oh,
and they have to have 130,000 unique donors.
Thank you.
You know,
Oh.
so classic government or legal minds like put these rules together.
Yeah.
What's a unique donor?
yeah, am I not unique? Oh, yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, I mean it's Corey, Kamala, Joe,
Mayor Pete.
Elizabeth, Mayor Pete.
Yeah, Liz.
There was one odd one that struck me. Who was it?
These are people that are qualified or not qualified?
Qualified. Yeah, there were 7
Yang.
altogether.
Mary Ann?
Mary Ann's not qualified.
Who is it that stood up to Bernie and said, you're going to take healthcare away, private healthcare away from people who don't want to give it up? Yes, some will. And Bernie
Was
threw
it
his
the
hands up.
Montana
Who was
governor?
that? That guy's making some
Or was
sense.
it
Inslee?
Hickenlooper?
I think it was Hickenlooper.
I don't know. I was.
Yeah, you got
I'm not
Hickenlooper,
sure.
Delaney, and Bennett.
Might have been Delaney. I think
Delaney.
Bennett,
They've got
Bennett
two-
was
Delaney's the
second.
bald
Two or
guy.
three of them that are just.
But
bucking
they're
against
speaking
the
common,
socialism.
at least that's common
Right,
sense.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you talk to people in the street, how many times has Fox done it? They don't want their health care taken away from them. They don't want single payer.
No.
Well, no, I mean, the people,
Because all the talk about the health plans, Medicare for all, and we're going to do all this and da da da. Do we remember Obamacare? Here it is, 2019, and we're still trying to work that out. Can you imagine Medicare for all?
Yeah.
20 years from now, they'll still be going through the problems with that.
well, the people that barely skated by, because some people did get to, had the benefit of keeping private insurance during the Obamacare
Rollout.
rollout,
Yeah.
whatever you want to call it, implementation. And
Yeah,
they're like the
you know
last
who they were?
ones.
The Senate and the House.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, I have family members that have corporate jobs that were able to keep
Yeah.
theirs, and they're like the last ones standing of the old system, and that would, it's like they're slowly chipping away at it, and that would be the kind of the last domino to fall.
Right.
And we all know we'd all love to have the government, take
Right.
care of
Yeah.
our health
Of course.
course. Wrong.
Oh, boy.
More like Medicare for none.
I spend my time kind of thinking, how are we going to put this to the average person? They're talking, oh, it's going to be Medicare for everyone. It's going to be so great. So one example I thought of was having Medicare for all and the government runs it. It's like Ingles is the only grocery store in town, and all they offer us is chicken. You don't get anything else. And you say, but I want something else. Well, we're the only grocery store, and this is what you get. Take it or leave it. And if you leave it, you're going to have to pay us for the chicken anyway. We have to put this in a
That's a good.
where
yeah.
somebody just has
Well,
to say, darn,
It
this
creates an
isn't
underground
working.
economy for beef. You're going to have, Joe Bob back there like running beef.
Black market, yeah.
Yeah, and that's called communism.
That's what it is.
We
Yeah.
talked to some people from Vancouver, and I said, when we were traveling, and I said to these two ladies, I said, tell me the reality of, they were our age, what's the reality of the health care provided in Canada? And she said, well, if you're dying of cancer, they take care of you. If you got a cold, they'll take care of you. But if you need a knee replacement or a hip replacement or some kind of orthopedic care, and this is how they put it, you're kind of screwed.
Get in line.
Get in line. It's a 5 to 6 month wait just to get a hip. It's a 7 to 8 month wait to get a knee.
Or certain elective surgeries or
Right,
what.
right.
Well, I think you got to have a bypass or a stent or something
so
like that.
So the two ends were kind of covered in the way they explained it to me. But everything in the middle, just, sorry. See you, wouldn't want to be you.
It creates, it almost sets up a situation, a scenario that reminds me a lot of like public government schools, right? Where the government takes over education and it drives down wages, and the best and the brightest don't want to be teachers anymore.
Right.
That's what it's going to do to medicine.
Already
You want a
doing it.
statistic?
Already doing it.
You want a statistic for that? Jimmy Carter created the Department of Education in 1979.
That's the problem.
The U.S. was first in education, and we're now 17th in the world.
Yeah. Well, I think it goes further back, but yeah, I mean.
Anyway.
I rest my case.
Well, we got a little bit of a late start today, but we had an interesting all-star panel. We had a visit from two Cindy's, and we celebrated some birthday time in between, but we covered a lot of ground. Winners and losers. Bruce, you want to start it off?
Yeah, I'll do my loser first.
Okay.
Again, during the debate, Kirsten Gillibrand, one thing she says, when I'm elected president, I'm going to Clorox the office.
Right.
Okay, Kirsten,
that
what
mean
the
And then she
hell
went-
does that mean?
That
She
means
went,
she's going to make it white?
She's going to bleach the heck
That's
out of it. I don't know.
interesting.
But, I mean, this is the mentality, it's like
Yeah.
just germ infested, and it's beyond the pale. I mean,
Yeah,
in terms of
infested.
loser.
Yeah.
Now, if that's not racist, I don't know what I mean.
There you go. And my home run is a little clip from a few years back. Two runners were competing in a 3,000 meter steeplechase, and this was in Spain. And the leader was a Kenyan runner, and he thought he won the race. He pulled up 10 meters before the finish. And the guy who was a Spaniard behind him caught up to him, and instead of like blowing by him, he said, hey, he got behind him using gestures, guide the Kenyan to the finish line. So I think that was, kind of a nice act of humanity to help the guy who was really winning. And if he'd just gone 10 meters more, would have won going
I
away.
get-
But the other guy didn't take advantage of
Yeah.
it. So.
Jane?
I'm with him. That means I hadn't thought of one
You
yet.
hadn't thought of one yet. Richie, how about some winners and losers?
Well, I'm gonna take a sports angle. My winner is the Braves, Alex Anthopoulos, and resurrecting his bullpen and completely remaking it in the span of about 24 hours. I think we're gonna make a run this year. And then my loser, I don't know, all the Democrat candidates. How about that?
Yeah, there you go. My wife gave me winners and losers, but I'm going to throw it to you, and I'm going to let you take the winners and losers. Her winner of the week is Trump.
Always the winner.
Always the winner of the week. And her loser of the week
No real
is
surprise.
CNN and Don Lemon. Can you expand on that a little bit?
They wouldn't let me say those things.
Don Lemon.
Don Lemon,
yeah.
As Tucker says. Can I make a cheap plug real quick?
Absolutely.
August 23rd, the Gilmer County GOP is hosting Congressman Doug Collins, star of the
All right.
Yes.
Mueller hearings. Tickets are available on the Facebook page, Gilmer GOP, or at Eventbrite. Just search Gilmer County Republican Party, and the event will be there. We have tickets starting at $20, and they go all the way up to $40 based on where you want to sit.
What's the date?
August 23rd. It's at 7 a.m.
I'm glad you
Sounds
mentioned the Mueller
great
report.
fun.
Mueller report was not asked in the first debate at all.
Nor
Yeah.
was any questions about Russia
Yeah. And
in
it-
the
it-
Obama administration is when it happened.
It was in the second debate. It was brought up in the last 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Like it became a non-thing. Okay, we're leaving Mueller behind. We're just going to talk racism for the next 6 months.
There you go.
We didn't talk about the fact they voted in California. You can't get on the ballot. We gotta,
Oh, yeah,
do
they
that
put
some
that,
point in time. It's-
Trump's taxes have got to be out for him to get on the ballot.
Unconstitutional.
we didn't talk about
Unconstitutional.
Comey and gonna be prosecuted for this little thing,
It's
but
gonna be a
hopefully
slog.
there's so much more going on.
Thanks for coming in this morning. We appreciate it. Appreciate your input. Bruce, Jane, happy birthday to
Happy
you both.
birthday.
Happy birthday to me, I guess.
Happy travels to
us.
you.
Thank
Happy
you.
travels.
Yeah,
I'm going to Russia. I hope I get back because the
I can
Democratic
see,
Party, they're
I can
waiting.
see Russia from my
Yeah.
house.
They're going to be waiting in New York to handcuff Bill and me.
If you get an interview with
When I come
Vlad,
home,
let us know.
Yeah. I
BKP will set it up.
I'll take a selfie of
Are you
it.
going
Yeah.
to Russia?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're leaving tomorrow.
I hope he takes his shirt off. Ooh, ooh.
Riding on a tiger. Wait till you
scored 13 goals in a hockey game
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
Yeah, and then
Wait till
tripped
you-
on the mat.
against professionals.
Oh, yeah.
He's going down the side. And he
Wait till you see some of the
the Mac
memorabilia
guy
over there
died.
now with Trump and Putin on the same sweatshirt. We saw when we were in
St. Petersburg.
St. Petersburg. Some of the stuff over there, I wish I
funny.
would have. I wish I
Gotten.
would have. Yeah,
I'll
'Cause
bring you some.
It is brilliant.
And they
Some
have
of
the
the stuff
nesting
that
dolls,
they've
you
got.
know, with Putin. Trump. It's great.
Yeah, it's great stuff. Okay. Anyway, enough of this. I saw Jessie come in. I think she's here.
Yeah, she
Anyway, when
is.
we come back, it's time for North Georgia Senior Living with Jessie Barton, who is the Community Relations Director from Cameron Hall in LJ. And I appreciate all of you. Josh, take us to break, would you please?